In the words of Nyesom Wike, if he didn't day, he didn't day. He never. Why I disagree with that first message you read is the fact that, do you know that the FCDA had sent security personnel to go harass the engineer working on the site before? It was in reaction to that the army now sent people there. So that analogy was wrong. The FCDA at first used force. And it's in reaction to that, they brought another level of force. So you can say, oh, violation of laws and everything. But it is in reaction to that. So both of them on that score, they are wrong. The second score that is wrong, please, with due respect, how many court orders has Wike himself respected of people that he goes ahead, that they have a court paper, and they have an initial agreement, he will turn their pack around and take it? Didn't we talk about the story of those two young girls here? Didn't I challenge the senior advocate of Nigeria, Mr. Falana, about it? How many has he respected? See, let's not deceive ourselves. Wike has acted like a god over the land in Abuja, and he forgets that you're not going to be FCT minister forever. Before you, El Rufai, he did his own. He still left in the end. Why yo?
Meaning?
Please, be gently. Do
it evil as well.
Do it slowly.
All right.
The third point is, you now got there. You claim that you have called before. You had called the man superior. Why was that the show? It's because you wanted to intimidate him. But the man refused to be cowed. Yerima refused to be cowed. And please, those that are trying to skew narrative, Yerima didn't insult the minister.
All right.
All he said is, stood his ground. How can you call somebody a fool and you expect him not to talk? The next thing, you are a boy. Just like one minister was calling me a boy the other day, small boy. The next thing, I was already after I finished school before. Is that the bone of contention?
All right.
Please, like I said, the Hadiza Bala Usman's index should be released to the public so that we even have a ministerial code and screening.
All right.
We can't just have all sorts of things happen like this now.
All right. So some people have described this show of, I don't know what to call it. I'm trying to remove the word show of shame, but I don't think there's anything more elevated, anything better to call it. Yes. It's a show of shame, and it's quite unfortunate that this has happened, but it gives us an opportunity to see what happens. This is impunity versus impunity, because if you look at it objectively, both sides, and as reflected by the tweets or the ex-posts you read out, are, they come under questioning. Number one is that when you speak to many quarters, this issue could have been resolved amicably without this show of shame and show of force and show of whose power is higher than the other power. What were the options available to the FCT minister? On arriving there, the easiest thing is that when matters like this happen, you go to court. As they always ask, that this could have been resolved using, and this is where we talk about the respect of the rule of law. But guess what? We don't have the respect for rule of law and institutions. Hence, we take matters into our own hands, and then we have a state of anarchy. And that's what ensued yesterday. Very unfortunate incident. A state of anarchy where Nigerians then resort to taking matters into their own hands. So what does this mean? Does it mean that the response to FCT Minister Wike's going around revoking land is to get military on your land so that he will not be able to enter? That's a state of anarchy, whereby people take matters into their own law and they don't respect the rule of law. And so in the same vein as well, the military, former CNS, could have gone to court to challenge the revocation of the land by Mr. Wike, instead of sending his boys to the to ground to resist any kind of... But that's what I'm saying. No, but that's what I'm saying. It is the strength of our institutions, and that's why we keep talking about strengthening our institution. I say this because if anything had happened, Wike would have unnecessarily wasted the lives of those servicemen, because he had said that everybody here would die if I wanted to show myself.
No, would have died. I don't think he said.
He said that if they would have been a shootout if he wanted to assert his authority. So what I'm saying, no, I watched the video.
He said,
I watched the video.
He said, what you are doing here, people would have died.
Yeah, well, so what he meant was that if he had allowed the altercation between his security aides and the military,
which is what
but that's what I'm saying, that this young men who are supposed to be saving lives and properties of Nigeria would have died for a useless cause because people's egos were God. That's what I'm saying, that if we don't respect institutions and the rule of law, this is what happens with big manism in Nigeria. And so that's why I'm saying that on both sides, we have the courts for a reason. We have due process for a reason. Can we follow due process?
Yes.
For too long, people take matters into their own hands, and we have powerful people just flouting the laws for no reason. I applaud the commission, the uniformed officer.
Yeah.
According to a military man, no commissioned officer would take that insult to his person lying low. And so he spoke with dignity, he spoke with respect, and he stood his ground based on orders.
We're yet to
quickly on Nyesom Wike. I know I said just one sentence. My one sentence is that what struck me and what hurt me, OG, is that we are seeing optics of civilian versus military in 2025, when we've just come from threats or reports or rumors, whatever you want to call it, of a military coup. The soldiers should be on the war front because we're currently in a national security crisis.
Very well
So
said.
for me, it's unfortunate. Yes, a response to a mistake can also be a mistake.
Yeah.
Nobody was right in that scenario. However, the optics of seeing soldiers confronting, public officials, it's not a good look while we're trying to tell the world that we're committed to the fight against insurgency.
Yeah, I agree. The former Chief of Army Staff, Toko Buratai, has condemned Wike's confrontation with the soldier, describing it as a threat to national security that demands an immediate apology. In a strongly worded release, the former army chief said Wike's public disparagement of the uniformed officer transcends mere misconduct and represent a palpable threat to institutional integrity. Well, let's take that statement right now. Can we pull up that statement? It says, a minister's verbal assault on a military officer in uniform is an act of profound indiscipline that strikes at the core of our nation's command and control structure. It deliberately undermines the chain of command, disrespects the authority of the commander-in-chief, and grievously wounds the morale of every individual who serves under the Nigerian flag. Buratai argued that such actions erode the foundation of discipline upon which Nigeria's national security apparatus stands. He dismissed suggestions that the incident was political theater, calling it instead a reckless endangerment of national order and a clear indication of undermining the federal government's authority. The former army chief demanded that Wike immediately issue an apology to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as commander-in-chief of the armed forces and to the officer whose honor was violated. He insisted that the nation's security must come first and called for decisive action rather than politics of military bashing.